All right. Well, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Josh, and this is Digital Hammurabi. And today we are going to try something new and a little different. I've got the side chat open here, so we'll see how this works out. So, hi everybody. Sorry, I just see the first three comments were in Hebrew. So let me set some things out here for everybody watching. This is going to be biblical Hebrew, as you can probably see on your screen. I used to speak a fair amount of modern Hebrew, but it's been years since I did it. So at any rate, what we're going to do is, I got a little flustered there. So I hope everybody's expectations are not too high for my ability to read and speak modern Hebrew here. So I have a course that I taught initially here on Digital Hammurabi, and that was Learn to Read Ancient Sumerian. By the way, if you do have a comment, please tag me at Digital Hammurabi so it pops up so I can see it. But I taught the Sumerian course, and after that, I thought, well, I also taught biblical Hebrew years ago, so I have a minor in Hebrew Bible, so why don't I go ahead and teach, put a course together on that. That one's been much slower coming out. I think we're 6 lessons in. But one of the things that I've always kind of wanted to do was just sort of translate. Well, I taught a course once called Hebrew Readings, and basically everybody just came to class and we went through different genres of the Hebrew Bible and just translated passages and talked about the grammar, talked about the syntax. It wasn't really, the purpose wasn't really to go into a lot of commentary or exegesis. It was just to, read a lot of Hebrew. So that's sort of what I want to do here. Now I anticipate this is going to be real clunky. I have up on the screen, as you can tell, how do I, it's got to be a way to turn notifications off. Hang on a second. I think I can do that. Sorry, everyone. Notifications. Where are they? There they are. Do not disturb, maybe? No. Well, I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to... Sorry, I didn't realize that it would... Let me do this. I knew this would be clunky. Top. Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's try that. And then maybe that'll let me. God, I can't believe I'm doing this live. Sorry, everybody. This is just sad. This is just sad. Anyway, what I wanted to do was have up on the, I can't do 2 things at once. So what I wanted to have up on the screen was, the ability to do something, like if I needed to write, if I needed to write something so that you guys could see it. Yeah, that seems to work okay. But then I also wanted to have, the Hebrew text up as well so that we could go through it. Where's my mouse? Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. All right. I'm sure that we have 7 or 8 people watching, so I bet it's not like a lot of you are seeing me screw up here. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just have the ability to go through and read some Hebrew and have people in the side chat to ask questions. Maybe a year from now, if we keep doing this, people can come on and we can translate as a group. We used to kind of do this stuff at seminary, and at Hopkins, kind of get together and just read Hebrew as a group. So I thought that would be really useful. Okay, enough of me floundering about. Let's go ahead and get started. So if you see, we are in Melachim Aleph. So 1 Kings, and hopefully this will work out okay. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and read the verse out in Hebrew, and then I'm kind of hoping that actually if you're in seminary or if you're in a class where you're taking biblical Hebrew, that this could also be a place you kind of come and get a little bit of practice as well. But I'll read it out in Hebrew first. Please be aware that as I explain things, I'll try to do good Hebrew pronunciation when I read through the text. But for example, if I talk about that vowel right there, I'm going to call that a pathak instead of patach. And if I have, if it's that, I'm going to call it comets instead of kametz, primarily because that's how I learned it, and it's going to be easier for me. So I'm going to call it a dagesh, not a dagesh. So know that I know how they're, it's dagesh, not dagesh. But anyway, so apologies up front. Okay, here we go. This is starting off very poorly. V'hamelech David zaken ba bayamim ve'achasuhu ba begadim v'lo yicham lo. So now the king David was old, and this idiom here, ba bayamim, we'll talk about it in a second. Not that there's a lot for me to say. It occurs a couple of times, but it means like coming in the days, literally, or came in the days. But it's just an idiom. He's really old. So vechasuhu is, and they covered him with garments, with the garments, begadim, but velo yichamlo, but he could not get warm. So let's talk about this. You'll notice, first of all, that I don't say Waw Hamelech. I say Waw Hamelech. When I learned Hebrew, I learned modern Hebrew first and its pronunciations. So I actually like how it sounds better. Sorry, everybody, if that offends you. So V'hamelech. So you can see this is a Vav. So and when you say ha, if you've been watching our course, you put a hey pathak doubling dot. See how awful that is when I say hey pathak instead of hey patach dagesh. But anyway, so hey pathak doubling dot is how you say the. So you'll notice here, there's the hey, there's the pathak, and then there's that dagesh right in the middle, the doubling dot. So that's your word the. And what that does here on this word, if you were to divide this syllable, you would divide this word syllabically, you would divide it like that. So you have, this is a doubled mem. So one mem is closing this syllable as a CVC. It's terrible. And one mem is coming this way. So you have an open syllable here as a CV, and then this is a CVC. But that's what that mem is doing, is or that dagesh is doing. It's doubling the mem. We are in, Sebastian, I saw your comment there. We are in 1 Kings, Melachim Aleph, and we are just in verse 1. So you're right on time. Or just in time, maybe is better. Okay, so Vehamelech, so Melech is king, and the king. Pretty straightforward. This is a segelet. You notice the two segols here. So segelets have a very consistent pattern that you see, which we just actually covered in lesson 6. So if you go to our Digital Hammurabi, if you go to our channel, you'll see that's where we got in our course. Okay. David, Vehamelech David. Notice David here is written without the matrix lectionis. So there is no, in later texts like Chronicles, you'll get that yud, the yod, which is, they're writing out the vowels. which tends to be a later phenomenon in biblical Hebrew. So something to keep your eye on. So v'hamelech David Zakein. Zakein is old. And notice there is no definite article on it. So this is a predicate construction. So, and the king David was old, Zakein, masculine singular adjective. Ba bayamim, again, ba is a cow perfect, or a pa'al perfect. Sorry, everybody. Third singular from bo. And the bait here, so he came or it came. And then bayamim, so yom is day. If we pluralize that, it goes to yamim. It's one of those irregular plurals that we suggested that you just kind of memorize. By the way, thank you everybody for being here. Skylar, Alias, I know you guys are really into Hebrew grammar, but I really appreciate you being here. Ish anashim, isha nashim, these are kind of yom yamim. These are those irregular plurals. They don't follow the regular patterns that we see. So this is one of those that you just kind of want to commit to memory. Yom yamim, so days. We remember that, as we just talked about, if we were to actually, let me put that in a different color. I can do that, see? If we wanted to say the days, we would put hey, path, act, doubling dot. As I think we have learned in lesson 3, maybe, I can't remember. Some prepositions can and will be attached to a word, and when they are, and there is a definite article already in place, they will simply demolish. They'll demolish that hay. See how that bait just came in there and demolished the hay and took it over. And so that's what happens. So the hay, you'll notice in Hebrew that the hay tends to not be terribly strong. If it shows up at the end of a word and something else comes after it, it's either going to disappear or it's going to get strengthened into a tav. It's not really what it does, but that's how I help my students remember that. So, but you see here that the hay just kind of gets destroyed by that bait. So here we're looking bait is coming in, and so bait is in, with, by, among. It can mean a bunch of different things. But this is the preposition ba, and it's taking over. So in the days, so ba yamim, again idiomatic, meaning he came into the days. He lived a long time. He had lived a long time by this point, so he was very old. Okay, and again, this shows up in several different places, maybe 5 or 6 in the Hebrew Bible. You can go back and look at those references if you like. So I can probably search on them real quick. Stand by. Shows up in Genesis 24:1, Joshua 13, Joshua 23. Yeah, anyway, but you can see those. All right, I'm going to move on. All right, Vayachasuhu, this is a fun one. So this is a PL, Waw consecutive, or Vav consecutive, imperfect, third plural. So we won't go through, I promise I'll go faster, because I want to go through and explain every form, but I won't. But you remember the sort of the telltale thing about a PL is that it has that shavah. The shavah shows up all the time. So I mean, it has the doubled middle radical as well, but that Shiva shows up at the front an awful lot, and it's sort of one of the things that tips me off anyway, that I'm looking at a PL form. But the thing that we want to notice here is this. Let me just write out the form. Actually, switch back to black. Yeah. Okay, now if you know Biblical Hebrew, which I'm sort of assuming a little bit here, you would expect that that third hey, you know, the third, this is from kasa, like to cover something, you would expect that when an ending is put on, that that hey will drop out. And so let me just erase it and be replaced by ooh, that was ugly. Ve'yachasu. However, and so that's normal. When you add an ending, a pronominal suffix, usually we expect to see ehu here or something akin to that. But this is ending in a vowel. So what's happening here? What's the best way to do this? Just go ahead and erase it. Is that long shorek is shortening to a kibbutz, and then the ending hu is being added. So this is a third person. There's your u ending for the third person. So yedabaru, you hear that ending, but it's being shortened to a kibbutz, and the ending hu is being added for the third masculine singular. So, and they covered him. Same sort of construction here as we see here, bayamim, ba begadim. So begadim is the so beged is our segelet form. Notice the two segols. The segelet, as we learned, has a very consistent pattern. When you add a plural ending like im, it shifts its vowels to segol comets. So begadim, which is what we see here. So beged goes to begadim. So melech, melachim. Why can't I think of another seglet? Regel. Well, that's two usually. Okay, anyway. So, as we saw before, if you were to add, so hey pathak doubling dot, again, I apologize. I'm going to stop apologizing for my pronunciation of pathak here in a moment, but that's how you would write the, and of course that very powerful bait is coming in, you know, and it's destroying, it's blowing up that hay because it's so powerful. And so we end up with ba begadim. So they covered him with garments, with the garments. Sorry, I look over at the side chat every once in a while. Thank you, Yeshaya. Certainly not king. I appreciate everybody's patience with me here as I kind of go through this. Okay. So v'hamelech David zaken ba bayamim ve'yachasuhu ba begadim ve'lo yicham lo. Now, you know, in Hebrew, when you say I'm cold, you say karli. So it is like cold to me. So when we see here chamam, this is a geminate. Terrible, Josh. Chamam. So this is a geminate verb. This is one of those, usually we see like yay, Tom. For geminates. This one here, however, I guess I can just do that completely. You get yicham. I don't know what more to say about that. It's one of the geminates that's like it's an alternate pattern that shows up. You just kind of have to recognize it. Yicham lo. So couldn't warm himself to himself. Like he couldn't get warm. Below yicham lo. So lo is to him. So li, lecha, lach, lo, la, lanu, lachem, lachen, lahem, lahen. Those endings on the prepositions. So verse 1. We are flying. We're not flying in any way, in case that was unclear. Okay. Again, if you have questions, please tag me. Of course, there are tons and tons of people in here, so it's not like that side chat zipping through. So I can probably see if you ask a question. But if you have, a question or a comment, you want to correct me, please do. Okay, verse 2. Any connection with Nacham? I don't think so. Nechma. What is that? To rest? No, I don't think so. But I'll look. It's a good question. So verse 2, Vayomeru lo avadav. I'll just read the whole thing. Yivakashu ladoni hamelech na'ara vetula. Va'amda lifnei hamelech. Utihilo sochenet. V'shachva v'chekecha. It's a nice one. V'chakecha, sorry. Makes sense there. V'cham ladoni hamelech. So Vayomeru, it's a very standard. Vayomer, Vayomer, Vayomer. And he said, and he said, and he said. This one is a plural. Vayomeru. You can see the U ending there. So, and they said, lo, to him. And then who did? So, this is a good one to point out. Eved. Anybody that's been with us for a while has probably heard this word a fair amount. Eved. I'm writing, by the way, like on a vertical screen here. So if my handwriting seems atrocious, it is. I apologize, but you can hopefully get what I'm saying. So Eved, slave, servant, whatever. Eved is a segelet. Notice the two segols. So if we wanted to pluralize segelet, we do our standard, we attempt to do our standard Shava comets. However, this guy, ayin, is a guttural, and it doesn't like a simple Shava. It wants a composite Shava. So you'll notice here, this composite Shava, Vadav. So what has happened? Let's just go back. Eved. Remember, these vowel changes are almost always predicated, or very often predicated, on accent shift, right? So when you put a plural ending on, the accent shifts, right? Segelets have a Segelets have the accent on the first syllable as opposed to normally the last syllable of a Hebrew word. So here, when the accent shifts, that does things to the vowels here, which again, as we just said, Segolits want to do that Shava comets, but here, because it's a guttural, it gets a composite Shava, so it's voiced a little more. And the same thing is true with the form that we have in front of us, the plural of ending. So if it were his servant singular, you'd get avdo. We'll talk about that. Yes, penultimate. Thank you. It's the word I was searching for. Ultimate, penultimate, antepenultimate. So avadav draws the accent. This av ending draws the accent, so it's shifting those vowels from evid to avadav. So this is the subject of this verb. And his servants said to him, I'm interested to see here, there's a note. Verse 2. Okay. Nothing substantial, right? Anyway. And then you get the quote, Yevakashu ladoni hamelech na'ara vetula. So this is an interesting form. This is a PL, imperfect third common or third masculine plural from Bakash, or how do I? Bakash, Beit, Kof, Sheen. Let's say that. So another PL. Let them seek. So it's adjussive form. It's not they will seek, or this is a question that's being, or it's not a question. It's a proposal, I suppose. But let them seek. So this is adjussive form. Who's the they? Or this is that sort of impersonal they. Let it. It's like a passive. It's like a way of saying let her be sought. So let them seek them. This impersonal they. For my Lord, ladoni. This is a quiescent aleph here. So the aleph just goes silent. So Adonai, Adoni, Adon. My Lord the King, Hamelech, there it is again. Na'ara vetula. We're not going to talk about this word, except to say that, na'ara is sort of a general term. You have na'ar, na'ara. And, it's sort of a general term for a young girl, not terribly specific about the age. But betula, you probably, if you've studied Isaiah 7:14, you've probably heard about this, or if you've just heard about Isaiah 7:14. Yes, good question. Sorry, that's actually good, Malachi Walker. Why isn't there a Dagesh forte in, yes, there is an interesting thing that happens. Thank you for bringing that up. That's good. Let me write it out here. Ah, gosh, come on, Josh. It's just so ugly. Okay. We know from our PL imperfect paradigm, edaber, tedaber, tedabri, yedaber, tedaber, nedaber, you have this, there's supposed to be a big, amazing Dagesh there in the middle radical, right? Doubling that. I can't remember why off the top of my head here this happens, but the way that I always remembered it, if I think about it for a second, I might be able to come up with it. Nope, I don't know why. How did I teach it to them? I would say that the Dagesh, not the Dagesh, the Shava down here, it like drills a hole somehow in the bottom of the radical, and the Dagesh falls out. It just drops out. You see this a lot actually with the PL forms. So look up here. See that Shava here? You would expect, oops, do that. You would expect a dagesh forte here, but you don't get it. That shava drills up into the yod, and the dagesh can't stay in there, it just drops out. You see a lot of times with that shava, if there's a shava underneath of a radical that's supposed to be doubled, it will often fall out. It'll often disappear. They won't write it. But I can't remember off the top of my head why, but that's a really good question. I'm not going to do it on air, but if you guys know about Zhongliang Seao's book, you can see this is Megan's copy from her PhD days. That's a very well-worn book. He'll go into why, and I'll probably go back and look after this just to refresh myself on what it is that happens. But yeah, so that's why if you do see it, just think it has something to do with a shava. It's definitely that it's drilling a hole and causing the. I had all these goofy memorization things with my students when I taught Hebrew. You'll probably hear them come out. Actually, you already are. Never mind. Okay. So we were talking about Na'ara Betullah. So the Betullah is a virgin. It's not always a virgin, but pretty often. So this is a young virgin girl. V'amda. So this is an interesting setup here. You remember I said here that yevakesh right here, yevakesh is a adjussive form. And there is a construction in Hebrew, a syntactical pattern that where you have a Waw consecutive perfect. I don't know if it also, it's usually a Waw consecutive perfect. I don't know if it happens with the imperfect, but the ones that I'm remembering are always Waw consecutive perfects. Yeah, Josiah Hansen wondering if he's making all this up. Yep, I very well may be. It's a dangerous game that I'm playing. All the people that know biblical Hebrew, though, they'll skin me alive. Using that, obviously, hyperbolic way. So there is if you have a jussive or a jussive, a cohortative, a volative form of any kind, and it is, you have words in between, and then you have this that's so weird, a vav with a perfect after it. This they call it an indirect volative form, but it's you think of it like the force or the nuance, whatever, of the jussive or the cohortative or the imperative is transferred to that perfect. So here, what we're seeing here is, if we were to translate this, let them seek, blah, 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 and let her stand. Before the king. Or even it could be so that she will stand before the king. Actually, I think that's what the indirect volative is. Sorry, I think I'm conflating two things here. I think the indirect volative here is causing us so that. I'm conflating two things here. Somebody check me out. Actually, what is it that looking at the Greek? Anyway. How does... Yeah, I don't know that there's a sharp distinction. Okay, anyway, I think that this is carrying the jussive form with it. Now I want to go back and look. Anyway, we'll look later, unless somebody wants to look it up real fast. But this is some of the things that this Waw consecutive perfect can do. It carries on the nuance of something. And we see it here continued, which is what's leading me to question whether this is like a purpose clause. Because here, if you continue on, and I think this is probably, and let her stand lifnei hamelech, before the king, lifnei, before. And then here you have another jussive form, and let her be for him, so haya, from, to be, let her be for him, sochenet, like a nurse or an attendant, somebody that waits on somebody or cares for somebody. Yeah. Yeah, I think these are carrying the jussive, and maybe this one's carrying the purpose clause. No, maybe these are all jussive. Okay, how would I translate this? I should prepare for what I'm going to translate more. And let her stand before the king, and let her be for him an attendant, and let her lie in his lap. In your lap. I'll bet that C there is his. And let, and let my lord the king be warm. Yeah, I'll just have to go back and do a little work on this. But cham, so just cow perfect. Actually, this is a Waw consecutive perfect. Third singular from chamam, the geminate, to be warm. And yeah. Anyhow, we're not going to go through and parse all those. Anybody have any questions other than the ones that I've brought up and then said, I'm not entirely sure. I have to go back and look. All right. Verse 3. Can you see that on the screen? Okay, good. Vayivakashu na'ara yafa bechol gevul Yisrael vayimtzeu et Avishag ha-Shunamit vayaviu ota lamelech. So, just a quick translation of it, and notice that it's sort of paralleling what happened up here. So, let them seek, and they sought. And they sought a young, beautiful girl, Yafa here. Gevul here, it normally means like, I don't know about normally, but often means boundary, but it can be territory. So in every territory, so in every territory of Israel, and they found Matzah, Avishag, that's her name, the Shunammite, Shunamit, and Hifil form here, and they brought, from Bo, and they brought Otah, her, Oti, Otcha, Otach, Oto, Otah. They brought her, Lamelech, to the king. So let's talk about this. Here, get rid of that. Again, here are two places where the Shava drops out an expected dagish. You expect one to be here in the Yud and one in the Kof. But this is another PL, Waw consecutive, imperfect, third plural from Beit Kof Shin. And they sought Na'ara Yafa. Notice the adjective Yafa agrees in gender and number with Na'ara, so feminine singular. Yafeh, Yafa, Yafim, Yafot. Notice the hey will drop off because it's weak. Yafeh, Yafa, Yafim, Yafot. I hear my voice outside, which leads me to believe Megan's listening to the stream. But I'm not sure. It could just be she's out there with somebody that sounds a lot like me. Just kidding. So bechol gavul. So this is all in construct state. Notice gavul. This has reduced. And yeah, we don't have to talk about that. But these, in every territory of Israel. I don't know if you guys can hear Oliver out there. Vayimtzu, so another cow, or a cow, Waw consecutive imperfect, third plural, masculine plural from matzah, standard form here, yimtzu. So if you have two shavas in a row, the first one's going to be silent, the second one's going to be vocal, yimtzu. And then et, the object marker, Avishag, so they found et Avishag. The use of et that I always go back to is Genesis 1:1. So Bereshit bara et, Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. So et just is an arrow pointing to the direct object of the verb. Hashumanit, Shunamit, the Shunammite. Vayaviu, so avi, tavi, yavi, tavi, navi. But this is from Bo. So vayaviu, this is just a hifil form, a hifil, Waw consecutive imperfect, third plural. From Bo. Oh, that's Megan there saying she is listening. She's amazing. And notice here, ota. So another, notice the et. This is just these forms, et, these separate object pronoun forms are just, or these pronoun forms are just et with a God, I can't think of these technical terms today. Wherever. MS is dope. Anyway, it's got the third feminine singular ending on suffix, is what I was trying to think of. Ota, so her. La melech, so here. Let's draw this out. Melech. Good grief, that's ugly. Melech, if you wanted to say the king. Ha-melech. But here comes that big bad lamed. Is that still on the screen? Yeah. It's gonna destroy that hay. And such a nerd. What we end up with, because that lamed is so powerful, we just end up with La Melech. I've lost my place. There it is. La Melech. So they've gone out, whoever they are, and they have found this young woman, this virgin woman or girl for the king. And now to verse 4. Yep, there we go. V'hana'ara yafa ad me'od. V'tehi lamelech sochenet. It's very repetitive. V'teshartenu v'teshartehu. She served him. V'hamelech lo yada'a. And that's an important phrase, I think, that they're trying to get in there. But we won't do exegesis here, but just so we can read it. V'hana'ara yafa. So now the or and, just depends on how you're taking this. And the young lady, the na'ara, the young girl, notice it said up here that they were searching for one that was beautiful. But here it says yafa ad me'od. So me'od is, like exceedingly or something. Ad me'od is sort of idiomatic. It shows up a couple of places. Can't remember where. But it's like exceedingly, like exceptionally maybe, but a whole lot. And right, so she was really, really beautiful, I suppose is a good way to say. She was exceptionally beautiful. Sorry. And she was Vatihi, and she was, like she became La Melech for the king, Sochenet, as we saw up there, like a nurse, an attendant. Okay, so Vatasharet. So this is a sorry, how do I just draw it out. Okay, yeah, this is a good one to talk about. Okay, we want to try to put a doubling dot in here, right? But it refuses, right? Have you ever tried to put a Dagesh Forte, a doubling dot inside of a radical, and it just refuses? Like, let me try it again. There we go. Good. What? It's gone. I don't know what happened. Right? There are certain radicals. So nerdy. There are certain radicals that there are certain radicals, sorry, just happened to catch a glance of the side chat, that refuse to take Dageshes. Really snobby that way, I guess. Those are the gutturals and resh, right? So ayin, aleph, hey, chet, and then resh. They just won't take them. And we know, so this is the vowel pattern that we want, right, for a PL, imperfect. But we don't get it, which is really stinky. And what's the reason? So let's think about what would this look like if it were davar? So tedaber, right? If we wanted to divide this syllabically, syllabify this, divide this into syllables, we would divide it this way, and we divide it this way, and we divide it this way, right? And this is telling us that one bait is going this way and one bait is going this way. Whoa, sorry. That was completely wrong. I had an extra line in there, sorry. There. One bait's going this way, one bait's going this way. It was really strange to have a bait going to itself. So then you have a CV, a CVC, and a CVC. So that's the pattern that we want to see with the PL. Now, the problem is when we have something like Tesharet, and it refuses to take that Dagesh, right? So that means when we divide this into syllables, it ends up like this. And you go, wait a second. You know, the accent's here, tesharet. Well, this is an open, unaccented syllable. And if it's open and it's unaccented, oh, I wrote that and you can't see it. This is an open, unaccented syllable. And we know that open, unaccented syllables, everybody out there knows this, right? Everybody. I mean, you guys are all like down on this. If it's open and it's unaccented, it has to be long. And so what this does is you get compensatory lengthening to accommodates. And again, the reason that it does that is because you can't double this resh. And because of that, you don't have a resh coming to close that syllable. So you have to get compensatory lengthening. This vowel is long, and now you can have an open, unaccented, long vowel, which is fine. So here tesharet. You know, it's va teshara tu tehu. Teshara tehu. The ehu ending, of course, is just that third possessive suffix or third suffix marking the object. So, and she like ministered to or served him, ehu, the king. Does that make sense? Hopefully that made some sense. It's funny, I can't tell how many people are watching. And for those of you that are watching that don't know Hebrew or like aren't learning Hebrew, I applaud you. This is gotta be, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it's not. Anyhow. So, and she served him. Now our fun phrase, v'hamelech lo yada'a. All right. So the text is seemingly going to, I'm not going to exegete, but the text seems to be going to some lengths to say that even though this is a virgin girl, v'hamelech lo yada'a. So let's talk about that. This form we understand, right? Seen it several times. So we've got a conjunction vav and then you have the hey pathak doubling dot for the, and then melech is king, so and the melech. So that's fine. We're all good with that. Probably here that vav is a but, like but the king. I've lost it. Where is it? There it is. Lo, we know lo is not, and then yeda'a. All right, so our standard way of saying a cow, perfect third masculine singular, is yada. This shamar, yada. That's the pattern that we see. So now, and we probably know that the word yada, to know, can have sort of a sexual connotation to it, to know sexually. So here, but the king did not know her, right? Which makes sense that the text would say that. Okay. So what's happening here is the ending is being added. And you notice the mapik in the hey. If I told you guys, I don't know that I've told you guys, this dot is called a mapik. For those of you that don't know that. And I had a brilliant professor that when he taught me Hebrew, he gave me a way to remember this. If you look really, really closely, this looks like, and this is so hard to draw like this, but it looks like a widow's peak, the point of a widow's peak. You know what a widow's peak is? Like Eddie Munster used to have one in his forehead. And so when he saw that dot, he looked at it and he said, "Ma peak, ma peak." My widow's peak, my peak. Okay. Anyway, my peak. But hopefully you won't forget it now. What's that doggish doing in the hay? Oh, that's my peak. That's what Eddie Munster said. My peak. All right, anyway. So this means her, right? Okay, so if we syllabify this now. Uh-oh. You know, we got problems, right? So the accent has shifted. And one of the rules that we know about when accents shift is we go to, this is the ultimate syllable. This is the penultimate syllable. And this is the, but that's not what I want to talk about now. Sorry. This is the tonic. This is where the tone is. This is the pretonic. And this is the pro-pretonic. Okay. So, again, it's not that you have to necessarily memorize these rules. That's not, it just helps when you see these vowel patterns to understand what's going on. Why is this happening? Okay, well, the accent has shifted further away from, it's gone from here and it's shifted here. So now the tone is shifted a little bit more. This is an open syllable and it reduces to a shava. This is one of the things that happens. You get a propertonic syllable. If it's a comets or shava, it will reduce, right? So to compensate for that, now that we have, sorry, let me get rid of some of this. So we understand this one, right? This comets, because it's in an open propertonic syllable, it reduces to shava. That one makes sense. Now we have an open unaccented syllable. Irrespective of where the tone is, it's an open unaccented syllable. And you get compensatory lengthening because it needs to be in a long vowel in an open unaccented syllable. So you notice if you look, you have the shava, comets, comets. And now it makes sense how yada, comets, pathak, can go to yada'a. Yeah, that makes some sense. Okay, well, this has been good. I was anticipating going a whole lot further than this. But we've been going about an hour. And yes, Ray 90501 says Shunammite are hot. Apparently. Well, at least this one was. We'll continue this. If you guys like this, please leave comments in the comments section below. If you like this video and you want to see more of it, please let me know. Again, comment below or shoot me an email, digitalhammurabi@gmail.com. I'm very happy to keep going, with this in later lessons. But I think this sort of thing, just kind of walking through Hebrew text, is an important thing to do. I was talking to Megan about this before I go. I could do this also with Greek, if people, New Testament Greek, Koine Greek. Now, I want to say, I had 6 years of graduate level Koine Greek. So I taught a little but of it. So I feel very comfortable in that respect doing it. But obviously I'd be much more, I'd hedge my bets much more, because Greek is not something that, I did anything in my PhD in. So, but I think we could probably do this with Greek if you guys would like. And I'd be, yeah. So again, comment below. I see people saying that was very helpful in the side chat. So I appreciate that. But let me just, before I go, I'll read it one more time in Hebrew. So, if anybody wants to just hear kind of all together the first 4 verses that we did. V'hamelech David zaken ba bayamim ve'yachasuhu ba begadim ve'lo yicham lo v'yomeru lo avadav yevakashu ladoni hamelech na'ara vetula ve'amda lifnei hamelech ve'tehi lo sochenet ve'shachva ve'chekecha ve'cham ladoni hamelech ויבקשו נערה יפה בכל גבול ישראל, וימצאו את אבישג השונמית, ויביאו אותה למלך. והנערה יפה עד מאוד, ותהי למלך סוכנת, ותשרתהו, והמלך לא ידעה. So, now the King David was old. He had come into his years. And they covered him with clothes, with clothing, but he could not keep warm. And they said, and his servants said to him, let them seek for my lord the king a young virgin girl, and let her stand before the king, and let her be for him an attendant, and let her lie in your lap, maybe so that, or and let my lord the king be warm. So they sought a young, beautiful girl among all the territories of Israel, and they found Avishag, the Shunammite, and they brought her to the king. Now the young girl was very, very beautiful, and she was for the king an attendant, and she served him, but the king did not sleep with her. So there you go. Okay, guys. Well, I have had a lot of fun with this, and I hope you have too. Until next time, resist poor scholarship. Always ask, how do you know that?